those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look.
Our challenges are great, but our will is greater.
There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America.
The United States will not ignore your oppression or excuse your oppressors.
All are equal, all are free, and all deserve a chance to pursue their full measure of happiness.
This is CNN.
The presidential inauguration is getting underway right here on the Capitol, and we have a front row seat.
Here on the National Mall, people are staking out their spot to experience this moment in history.
The sun rises on Barack Obama's second term.
We gather because we have chosen hope over fear, unity of purpose over conflict and discord.
On this day, a public celebration of the presidency after a private oath the day before.
So help you God, so help me God.
In this Capitol, where so many battles have been fought and will be fought, political rivalries are being set aside in a show of democracy and unity for all the world to see.
And we remain more than a collection of red states and blue states. We are and forever will be the United States of America. We're live here on the west front of the United States Capitol for one of the grandest celebrations of democracy in the world. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer. Less than 3 hours from now on this stage, right behind me, President Obama will raise his hand and publicly take the oath of office. We'll show you that at every big moment of this inauguration day. We're learning about the sources of inspiration for the president's inauguration speech and the mistakes he wants to correct. And we're just minutes away from giving you a candid look at the Obama family and their daily life in the White House. The First Lady is planning some changes over the next 4 years. Now take a look at this. Across the National Mall right here in Washington, hundreds of thousands of people are gathering. This is the way the president will see it. Right near the Washington Monument, at the edge of the crowds, our own Anderson Cooper is standing by. Anderson, a very exciting day.
It certainly is, and the crowds are building around this area as well. A lot of people got here very, very early. They want to stake out a spot to watch the inauguration. We have got cameras in place all across the National Mall, along with teams of anchors and correspondents, including Don Lemon, Robin Meade, and Christy Paul. First, let's check in with our Robin Meade. Robin, what's happening where you are right now?
Wait. Well, I'm standing here with a bunch of people from what states do we have? Florida, New Jersey, Ohio, Michigan. Okay, we got a lot of folks who are just now making their way. I want to introduce you to, this is Marcella. She's 70 years old. She is volunteering from California. Why did you come all the way to California to volunteer? You got to work.
That's true. Well, I thought this was a great opportunity to show my love for the president and for the country, and it would probably be my last opportunity to see Barack Obama in office and to be a part of this whole historical event.
So while you're working, what do you anticipate him saying today in the speech?
Well, I think he'll talk about bringing the country together and the strives and
just the goals?
The goals of Martin Luther. I'm sure he'll bring in Martin Luther King and the goals that he shared with him and with the country, and trying to get Congress to work together to pass all the initiatives.
Well, Marcel, you have the whole list ticked off in your head there. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing today. And everyone, we're back to Wolf. Say, back to Wolf!
Yes!
Back to you.
Yes. All right, Robin, thanks very much. President Obama is due to arrive here at the Capitol less than 2 hours from now. At this moment, he's beginning the start of his second term in prayer. Our White House correspondent, Brianna Keeler, is outside St. John's Church. That's right near the White House. Our chief White House correspondent, Jessica Yellen, is on the National Mall. Brianna, let's go to you first. Tell us what's going on, what is about to happen.
Hi there, Wolf. Well, I am across from the church where President Obama and Mrs. Obama are inside, sitting not in the traditional president's pew, but in the first row, as is the vice president and his family. And I want to show you, if this bus will move behind me, you can see over here the presidential limousine, the Beast. Once this service is over and we are told that it will be short and sweet, the Beast is standing ready to whisk President Obama and Mrs. Obama off to the Capitol.
Brianna, thank you. Let's go to Jessica Yellen. Jessica, I understand you're learning some details about what the president will say.
Okay. All right. Very good.
One insider insisted to me, Wolf, that there is no challenge to be met today, no political test. But President Obama considers this speech deeply meaningful, an important opportunity, a chance to reset the political conversation. And aides concede to me it's no easy task.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
A second inaugural, a second chance for President Barack Obama. He used his first address to issue a grim warning about the coming economic crisis.
Let us brave once more the icy currents and endure what storms may come.
That message was not well received. It clashed with the euphoric mood of a nation expecting hope and change. CNN has learned the president began working on this address with longtime chief speechwriter Jon Favreau in mid-December. Favreau writes, the president rewrites in the draft's margins or longhand on yellow pads.
This is a historical event, and so that you can't help but feel some pressure because of that, and a desire to make those few minutes when you're up there count.
In today's speech, don't expect policy details. That will come in the State of the Union. Instead, this address will be heavy on sweeping themes. Among them, the responsibility that comes with citizenship. For inspiration, the president read this inaugural.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
A second theme, a call for unity in a time of division. The president read Bill Clinton's second inaugural.
Will we all come together or come apart?
And Abraham Lincoln's, delivered to a nation divided by civil war.
With malice toward none, with charity for all.
A third theme, renewing our commitment to the values of our founding fathers. Perhaps it's surprising the president found inspiration in the words of this former adversary.
There can be no human rights without human liberty.
Aides tell CNN, though the president disagrees with Mr. Bush's policy, he's moved by that speech's embrace of America's democratic principles.
Freedom, by its nature, must be chosen and defended by citizens.
A message, aides say, the president will echo today, as he did at the White House last week.
That most fundamental set of rights to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, those rights are at stake. We're responsible.
Of all his predecessors, the president says he is most inspired by President Lincoln.
That government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
In November, Mr. Obama screened Steven Spielberg's movie Lincoln at the White House Theater. And sources tell me, ever since, he's been quoting it around the West Wing.
Lincoln is the apotheosis of a uniter.
And look for an acknowledgement of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision on the day we honor the civil rights leader. A coincidence of timing that's not lost on the nation's first African-American president. Now, the speech was finalized over the weekend, but the president often makes final word changes up to the very end, and this time was no exception. I'm told that he made tweaks this morning, in fact. The president, I'm told, will speak for under 20 minutes. By reading prior inaugural addresses, he decided the shorter, the better. His last address was just over 18 minutes, and his favorite two past inaugurals were Kennedy's, which ran just under 14 minutes, and of course Lincoln's second, which at 700 words had to be fewer than 10 minutes. I'm told President Obama had a quiet breakfast with the First Lady and his daughters before going to church. Anderson.
All right, well, let's talk about it with our John King and Gloria Borger. What are you anticipating, John, hearing today?
I think broad strokes. Time to bring the country together, time to try to get through this tough economic times. I think it'll be a cautious speech because of the uncertain environment. The president doesn't quite understand what's going to happen with Republicans. He thinks maybe common ground on immigration with most, but there are confrontations looming. If he wants to go back for a big grand bargain and a legacy on Medicare and entitlements, he has a fight with the Democratic Party. If you look around the world, is Syria at a tipping point? What exactly is happening in North Africa right now? He begins his second term with uncertain political situation here in town and some big question marks around the world. So I think, as Jessica noted, you save the nuts and bolts for the State of the Union. You try to get off to an optimistic start.
My question is whether he acknowledges the partisanship that exists in Washington, but then says that doesn't mean you can't get anything done. Just because we believe in different things sometimes doesn't mean we can't reach and find some common ground, which is obviously what he's got to do if he wants to get some of those ambitious agenda.
How much does what he say really matter today? I mean, is it just? I mean, we know there have been speeches throughout history that have resonated and continue to get people can quote John F. Kennedy and others. Paul Begala wrote a piece on the Daily Beast the other day saying that President Obama should, give lip service to unity and getting together, and then go out and be ruthless afterward.
Well, that is a very tough choice for the president. What does he want his political strategy to be in this very short window that second-term presidents get? Is it a year? Is it 18 months? Is it 2 years? By that 2014 midterm, the climate here will change even more. But the president, he's in a better place now. The American people feel better about the direction of the country than at any point in his presidency. Yet only 49% of Americans think the country's going in a good direction. So the president has to bring the American people along at a time when they don't like this town. They don't like Washington. And frankly, they're not totally in love with his first term. He just beat his rival in the election.
People have lower expectations. So I think he may try and raise that a little bit. This will be a lot of poetry, and I think the State of the Union address is going to be the prose, where he really lays out the agenda.
Let's also bring in Jessica Yellen, also David Moranis from the Washington Post. Also, he's the author of the book Barack Obama, The Story. Also, Cornell Belcher, a pollster for Obama 2012, and Margaret Hoover, Republican consultant and CNN contributor. David, what are you expecting to hear?
Well, I think there's a paradox here, which is that 4 years ago there were huge crowds and so much ebullience about the moment, and he gave us somewhat of a wintry speech. This time, the crowds are smaller, there's less expectations, and I think he's going to give a much more optimistic speech. I think he feels he's in a much better place today than he was at this same point 4 years ago.
Cornell?
I think we're going to hear some of the themes picked up from the campaign. I mean, you certainly got to talk about the economy. You certainly got to talk about number one issue of Americans, and that's sort of, jobs and expanding and growing the middle class, because we're looking at a middle class that continues to shrink, and it's something that really bothers the president.
This is a speech, though, that it talks about values, and he's going to try to paint a vision for his next term. The danger is if he's too broad, it won't be memorable. So how does he keep it tight, have memorable lines, maybe a quotable nugget that we can take with us, like blue states and red states, the United States of America? I mean, it's a high bar to set, but he's done it before.
Jessica, you've been covering him now for a long time at the White House. Has he changed? Is this a different man than he was 4 years ago? A different politician, a different president?
We always saw Barack Obama, there was the professor, and there was Barack Obama, the competitor. And since he's been in office, we've seen Barack Obama, the competitor, emerge as a more dominant force. And Barack Obama, the competitor, plays to win. And so we've seen him do more of the things it takes to win. We saw him return from his vacation in Hawaii to fight Congress just now on the Bush tax cuts battle, as opposed to 3 years ago during the healthcare brawl. He hid away in Martha's Vineyard while that was exploding around the country. So he's doing those things you need to play to win. And he's taking his case to the American people more aggressively. It's not different. When I interviewed him in 2007 on the bus in Iowa, I covered him all through that campaign. I interviewed him before he won a single primary. He said to me on the bus in Iowa, what I need to do if I become president is take my case to the American people and make them rally Congress.
It sounds, though, like a constant campaign is what we're looking to over the next 4 years, like a never-ending campaign.
But this is what this is what he always believed. Going back to 2007, he always believed he needed to constantly rally the American people and campaign. He understood that's how Washington works. He just didn't always do it. And he's now realizing he has to always
David,
do it.
do you think he's very different?
Well, as John and I know so well from covering Clinton, the permanent campaign has been a